In this video, I want to go over ways to become like Percy Jackson from Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Before I begin, if you enjoy this type of content, make sure to like and subscribe. Watch me stream Tuesdays to Thursdays, 12:30 PM to 2:30 PM EST or UTC5. Join my Discord server for updates and to add suggestions for new videos, and hit the join button for $2.99 a month. For some background, Percy is a demigod, with his father being one of the big three, a nickname for the three big Olympians: Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. His father is Poseidon, god of the sea. One of the reasons for the big three to not have many kids is that they are stronger than other demigods by some proportion. So that'll be the first focus: getting hella strong by doing compound lifts at heavy weights at low reps. I've mentioned this in multiple other videos with the bench press, the squat, overhead press, and deadlift. Increasing the weight with micro jumps like 5 pounds or 2.5 pounds or anything smaller. You'd also want to add accessory workouts like barbell curls, dumbbell curls, calf raises, lateral raises, face pulls, etc. to either focus on muscles that are not directly worked in the compound lifts, or to increase the amount of volume being hit on that area. Eventually, you may want to reduce the overall weight you lift after a certain level to potentially avoid any long-term wear and tear, but this is way off in the distance. The second is cardio, with it being a big portion of whether you're fighting monsters, other demigods, gods, or whatever else. Most cardio will be sufficient, but in the case of Percy, to stick on the theme, would be swimming. Swimming is a really great exercise, hitting a majority of the muscles in your body, such as, but not limited to, your quads, deltoids, biceps, trapezius, lats, glutes, and more. Not to mention, it's a super useful skill to learn even if you've never touched a body of water. It also has other benefits, like keeping your joints flexible, reducing stiffness, and increasing mobility according to Harvard Health. If this is not an option yet, until you find a community pool or lake or the beach where it's safe to swim in for the last two, you can go for runs, jump rope, shadow box, pad work, with the last two having the added benefit of working on your combat techniques. Now for some actual demigod training to step up your game. Camp Half-Blood isn't just a summer camp, of course, but also a boot camp. Demigods go through a variety of training to learn useful skills to help them survive in dangerous scenarios. Here's some of the training. First is combat, which I just mentioned for the cardio portion, but it's really important to have both the cardio and the strength, and also the technique. I would start with unarmed combat methods because it's most likely easier to find a place to teach you how to strike or how to wrestle than it is to teach you how to use a sword. I do have a video on this topic called "What Martial Arts Would Batman Use?", which you can check out for some specifics, but in general, you'd want to combine a striking and a grappling martial art. In terms of weapons, Percy uses Riptide, a magical sword made of celestial bronze that is about 3 feet tall with a double edge. If you can't find like a gym or school to teach you how to use a sword, the next best option is solo training, where you either buy like a polyurethane sword off of Amazon or make one out of like PVC or foam, load up a video, and watch the forums, practicing it to the best of your abilities. Is it the best option in terms of overall skills? Absolutely not, cause you're missing some crucial points, like sparring. But you may be able to cover some of this by having a sparring partner practice with you using foam swords. I talk about this more in my video on Sokka's sword training from Avatar: The Last Airbender, where I go over some concepts of the sword as well in that episode, which you may find interesting. The same concept of solo training applies to unarmed combat as well if you can't go to a professional gym. Next is archery. While Percy isn't the best at it, with his teacher being Chiron, who is an incredible archer, adding the skill into your toolbox could be useful, and more importantly fun. Look for a quality but relatively low-priced archery set, preferably something like a horsebow, which is smaller to use, so it's easier to carry around with. I have a video on this topic as well, on how to be Hawkeye in real life, where I go through some of the details, along with how to shoot while moving. Third is rock climbing, with Camp Half-Blood having a rock climbing wall with the added option of lava coming out of it. Even without the last part, rock climbing is a challenging and incredibly useful exercise to do, as it works on both your upper body strength and grip strength. The ability to pull oneself up with their arms can become a crucial skill, both for Percy in the Sea of Monsters for one example, and for you in real life. You can start with grip crushers, varying in different poundage, and holding for a couple of seconds before releasing to work on that isometric skill, along with doing pull-ups, which is probably going to be easier than finding a rock climbing gym or a safe spot outside to do some rock climbing. Finally, in the demigod section is throwing. It isn't really mentioned, but Percy does say that he's actually a pretty decent thrower, something along that line at least. And it's a very powerful skill, which I mentioned in How to Be a Caveman in Real Life. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to get hit in the face by a baseball thrown at top speeds or a football thrown by like Dan Marino. Transference of throwing shit in terms of Greek mythology would be javelin throwing, originating from the ancient Olympics from Greece. However, you can start with just a baseball or a cricket ball or a football, and there's tons and tons of videos on how to perfect your form, so you're better at it whether you play in a leisurely manner or for a team. The last section is sea god abilities, as Percy has a variety of extra skills thanks to his lineage. He's basically like Aquaman, and most of those skills don't transfer over, like talking to fish or controlling water. With that said, there are steps you can take to at least emulate some of his abilities. First and most important one is being a fish in water. You gotta be so good at swimming like you were born in the goddamn water. This means learning all the different movements, like your backstrokes, breaststroke, front crawl, floating, etc. You need to be solid at all these techniques, plus increasing the amount of time you can hold your breath underwater, and becoming drown-proof. Drown-proofing is a technique to stay afloat for long periods of time with minimal effort using one's natural buoyancy. It is a skill used by like Navy SEALs and probably other swimmers, and one way to simulate this would be to jump into a pool and mimic that your hands are tied and then bob up and down the water. Though, have a lifeguard next to you when you try this, and don't tie yourself up for real, that's crazy. Other skills to learn that are more miscellaneous could be like having a lot of nautical knowledge. Even if you never have to use it, or even get on a boat in your life, it's some interesting things to know, like the terms port, starboard, how to calculate knots, using a compass, in line with paper maps, celestial navigation, maybe, and more. I talk about some of this in my video on how to be a pirate, though you don't have to be as good as Jack Sparrow. I'm sorry, Captain Jack Sparrow. Finally, would be fishing. And while I doubt Percy would be killing his ocean friends, it is another great survival skill to have, and a fun hobby if you enjoy that type of thing. Though hopefully, if you do catch fish or are planning to, make sure to consume the fish at the very least, if it's safe. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Watch me stream Tuesdays and Thursdays on both YouTube and now Twitch. 12:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. EST or UTC5. Join my Discord server for updates and to ask suggestions for new videos, and hit the join button for $2.99 a month.